Ba-da-ba-da-ba. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another show and tell. Pedro, please do the intro. I'm not
This
good
is
at
a
it.
show where everybody comes from the community comes together and shows off their awesome DIY project. It could be 3D printing, electronics, PCBs, artwork. Your
Retro
kids.
gear is fun.
Oh my God, retro gear is so hot right now. Yes, definitely show off all your cool stuff that you're working on. We're gonna take a couple minutes and go through the Adafruit team, and then we'll go into the community. But take about, I don't know, like 2 minutes to show off your awesome project. I'm gonna go ahead and start off with John Park.
Hey, John.
Hey, John.
Hey guys.
Almost started off late because it was like this week in coffee.
Yeah.
We were just chatting a lot about coffee, and I've had a bunch of coffee, so that's good. So I'm ready to go. Let me know.
Anybody who has suggestions in the chat.
I'll just keep going.
Well, anybody who has suggestions in the chat, give us some suggestions for like a really nice espresso. Like, price is not the limit. Just not one that has to pipe into the kitchen because we just went to remodel. I don't want to do that again. When it's easy to clean.
Yeah, you've done enough remodeling, so don't.
Oh my God, they're not even done yet, dude. We still have handles missing. We have to replace one of the cabinets.
Sounds like you need to post it up at the job store.
Oh my God, yeah, like all of our worker dudes got like COVID, so it's like, man, how long do we have to wait now? Anyway, what awesome project are you working on? More retro stuff. Holy crap.
So I've shown a little bit of this, and I want to do a little explanation where the state of this thing is right now. So backing up a bit, this is a Model 500 rotary telephone, which these were made from around 1954 to the 80s. So there were millions, tens of millions of these phones produced. They were rented to you by your phone company. So you usually paid about $29 a month to have this in your house. I don't know that they ever sold them. These were, whenever you find these, I got this one at a yard sale recently, it'll always say something about property of, and then this one's Pacific Telephone. So whatever your phone company is a Model 500 DM. They're tanks. They're amazing gizmos, amazing devices. I opened this one up last week on my workshop show. If people want to see the insides, I've got it kind of bolted back together right now. I will be reopening it to take a bunch of photos for the guide. So what I've done with it, first of all, these things are really great to work with because they have a lot of terminal connectors and screws and like spade connectors on the ends of wires. So you don't have to cut anything. I know some people were worried on social about, I'm not mangling my phone. Well, you don't have to. You can get to most of the things in here in a reversible way. So what I've done is I've done some connecting of the dial switch hook, which is a little normally closed switch that opens at 20 millisecond pulses when that dial is turned. So I've hooked that up to a KB2040 on one of the IO pins. And so I'm reading those pulses. I'm also reading this switch hook. So that's a separate switch, and I can read that on a separate pin to know the state of the phone. Is it hung up or is it lifted? The RJ11 jack here, this one happens to be a 4-wire connection, a 4-conductor connection. So what I did was I built myself a RJ11 to USB connector using one of our little USB-A shells. So I can plug this in, and that is now going directly to my KB2040, bypassing all the phone stuff. So this is no longer a legitimate phone jack there. And then you can either plug it into a computer or a mobile device. So in this case, I'm going through one of these little on-the-go camera connector things on an iPod. And right now, in this hung-up state, it does not show up as a USB device. When I pick this up off the receiver, the KB2040 inside of there has just woken up again. It's been reset as a USB device. So that means if I touch a dial, it notices, hey, someone's got a keyboard they're trying to type with. So I just reset the password on this to 4, 3, 2, 1. And voila, I've just unlocked the iPad using the rotary phone. At this point, it's still just acting as a USB HID device, so I can go ahead and type numbers in. And the thing I'm really excited about and proud of is having it do the little reset dance. It just woke up again, but now it's not a USB device. So it means the microcontroller is running. I could actually still read it through serial, but I get my virtual keypad back up on iOS. Nice. When I lift this, it's going to reset the board as a USB
Yes.
HID device. So now the iOS device is like, oh, okay, cool. There's a keyboard again. So I'm very excited about that. It's a pretty niche thing to worry about, but it has always bugged me about HID projects. When I plug them into iOS, you lose your virtual keyboard. You actually have to unplug the thing to get it back.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
one other question I've gotten from people is about switch hook dialing, which when these phones were in use originally and still on some systems today, you could essentially, you're sending the same signal to the telephone company when you hang up. And so it's going to screw with this. So I'll unplug this right now. But you could dial a 1 or you could dial a 1. You could dial a 2 or you could dial a 2. You have to get your timing right. Well, you could practice. It's called switch hook dialing. Hackers like to do it. Phone freaks like to do it. I did it one time in an office building that had a lock on this. So there was like a little type of key lock that would go on the 1. So you could dial past this. And I successfully called my friend by doing 6.
How funny.
3. So I may make a mode for the software that I've written for this in CircuitPython that allows us to do that instead, just because it's fun and it's fun to practice with it. But it's actually no different internally than this. It's breaking that signal. So yeah, so that's the project. I'm going to be working on a guide for it. And I'm getting a FaceTime call right in the middle of this from my brother-in-law. That's fun.
Special day today, JP.
Put that over there before that goes horribly. So that's what I'm doing with this one. I have a similar type of phone. This was a lineman's handset, and this one I've done similar projects with before. These are kind of cool because they were intended by a phone employee to hook up to external terminals as they're crawling around or on the outside of your house. So rather than the RJ11 plug, it had these great little fangy connectors that you could bite into the insulation of some wire with. Sometimes they're called bed of nails. This is like a bunch of tiny little connections. So it would prick the insulation and let you get a connection, and then you're ready to dial. So this could also be used for that type of project.
That's cool.
Now you say this is niche, but this would be perfect for the kid who is grounded and has to type in his Wi-Fi password every 5 minutes as the punishment.
Yeah, for sure. I
think
there would be. I've seen some people, since I started posting this, have shown me some really cool projects other people have built with these. I've seen some cases where people used the letters on here. And I don't know how they implemented it, but it could be that you have to dial this like 3 times to get a C and a certain pause, and that might be a G if you don't follow up. So you could make some pretty tortured ways to enter, to force people to enter stuff in using.
I like that.
There are also
one of those old Nokia ones.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
The old candy bar phones. Be like, no, you gotta type in the freaking password with that.
I think there are projects where people have turned these into voice over IP phones, Bluetooth phones. So I'm not doing anything sort of high test like that. I'm just basically turning it into a numpad. But if you're interested, there'll be a guide out in a few days. I'll be getting that out there. So.
Sweet. And that'll be on tomorrow's show, I think.
Yeah, I might do a little follow up with this, and then if everything lines up, I'm also going to be starting a new phone project. So I'm just into old phones at the moment. So I've got a different type of old phone, also old but different. So sort of stop by for the workshop show tomorrow, and we'll be digging into more phones.
Awesome.
Sweet.
Thanks so much, JP.
What's old is new again. Excellent.
All right.
Always.
All right.
Have a great one. Thanks.
All right. We'll see you tomorrow, JP.
Thanks.
Cool. Next up, we're going to check in with Foamyguy.
Hey, Tim.
Hello. Oh. You're muted.
There we go.
There you go.
I think we're good now. Alrighty.
Hey.
Hello, folks.
Hey.
So this week, or the last couple of weeks, really, I've been working on this project, which is reusing old winamp skins. So winamp is a old music player that ran on PCs, and there are like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, or thousands possibly. I have no idea how many are on this page, but there's a page here that documents all the winamp skins, and you can actually use these in like an online emulator, but what I am doing is making it so that you can download these and convert them to fit on the PyPortal and then run it on the PyPortal, and then there will also be a very basic music player. So it won't have all of the teeny tiny little buttons and everything hooked up, but there will be a basic music player. And so right now what I have set up are the couple custom display IO widgets that we made to scroll to text, one for counting the clock there, and then this playlist down here is also a custom playlist widget that I created. And right now I have it set up where I can just kind of click on the right half of the bottom of the screen and it will advance forward to the next track, and I can click on the left half there and it will go backwards. And this is just the base skin. And of course, you know, kind of the coolest thing about this is that you can quickly and easily just change your skin over. So a couple others that I thought were really neat was this Game Boy one. And then I'll show one more that was kind of my favorite one here. So just, you know, quick and easy, change the skin background and the config file, and then just pops up an entirely different looking one there. And I have tested out the MP3 playing. That works. I did it with a hard-coded file. I don't have it hooked up to the playlist yet, and it is also quite loud. So I figured it'd be best not to have that plugged in while we went. So I'll leave you with this ASCII one. I thought was pretty cool. I'll also show you while we're here in the code. The playlist is just in a playlist JSON file, so you can make make and store separate playlists on your device. Just store them in the CircuitPy drive. And change out to whichever one you want whenever you want, if you have separate playlists for working out or eating lunch or whatever. But I found this ASCII one, which I also thought was really cool. It's all made of just different ASCII characters, which I thought was a really cool sort of retro vibe.
How cool. Yeah, we were watching some of the stream where you were like going over the history of all the winamp skins and everything. So yeah, definitely tune in.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, and if folks are interested, I did stream some of the work that I have done on this, and we have a little bit more to do that I'll probably stream on the upcoming weekend. Saturday mornings is usually when I stream. So if folks are interested, you can catch the previous videos and tune in on Saturday mornings.
Awesome. Yeah, it's like the Saturday morning coding. Very cool. Thanks so much, Tim.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks, Foamyguy.
All right, next up is...
We'll check in with Mark Gambler.
Hey, Mark.
Sure.
Hey, Mark.
Hi.
Hey.
So more retro stuff. So after everyone was talking about it, I was at my mom's for supper on Sunday, because that seems the normal thing to do, and started looking. So for Christmas, my brothers got me one of those handheld football games with just the LEDs, and I had one as a kid. Unfortunately, I couldn't find that, but I found a couple of things. First was this game that I don't think ever worked. It's a baseball game. It's in parts because I think as a kid I probably bought it at a garage sale to fix it and have just rediscovered it now. But that wasn't even the exciting thing. I continued to look, and besides finding my old Commodore 64, I found instructions from a book from 1983 called Robotics that I had photocopied on building a robot. It was really amazing at that time that it had like all the instructions that 10-year-old or something me could follow with the help of my dad and uncle, so I wasn't soldering on my own. There's the amazing circuit diagram, which I've yet to sort of follow and actually find out what it'll do. But then I found the start of the robot that they had helped me build back then. So it's just 3 different relays, some transistors and resistors. I don't think I had a clue what it did at the time. I did find out that the connector I bought to hook this up to my Commodore 64 was not the right size. My mom, to this day, and still remembers, we told her I think 20 pins and it was actually 24. Still talks about how much money she spent on this connector that was never used and never returned. This was brought up some 30 years later. This is also the device that was responsible for me finding out what a fuse was when I hooked up to my Commodore 64 with tape, because I didn't have a connector and one of the wires slipped and cross-connected a couple of the pins.
You got to learn some way.
Yeah, I even found some of the old like components that it came in. So like these are old Archer things. They're from Radio Shack, apparently, by looking at the copyright information. And I think maybe the best thing is solder that is probably 30 years old.
I was
Wow.
gonna say, I was just gonna bring that up. I still have a spool of some Radio Shack solder that I
Those
won't
little
use.
tubes.
The
Yeah.
tube one and then one that's on a spool.
Right.
I've got a tube one sitting in the box of parts as well.
I'm never gonna touch it.
So
But
yeah, hopefully I
awesome-
get the
awesome
robot
find.
finished at some point now that I've rediscovered it. The one thing I've got now that 10-year-old me didn't have is a 3D printer, which
There you go.
makes a lot of
That's-
it a lot easier than back then.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for this like nice little trip down memory lane.
Yeah, keep checking in every week.
Thanks.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Mark.
Cool.
Thanks.
All right. Bye.
All right,
Okay, next up, we're checking in with Tim M. Hey, Tim.
Hi, Tim.
Hey everybody! So I got even more retro stuff. So I'm going to try to
Oh,
flip my
cool! I
camera
love this
around
theme.
here and see if I could do that successfully. All right. Okay. So I have here a Tektronix 453 oscilloscope. So this is actually from 1967 to 1971. And this, something my dad actually picked up. The company he worked for about 20 years ago was trashing all their analog test equipment. So it's mine now. Didn't need much repair, just needed some deep cleaning and a new fan motor. And I thought I'd show you guys, you get a kick out of this. So it's a transistorized unit. All the transistors are discrete and individually socketed. And you have a lot of components here. It's this interesting combination of PC board mount and some terminal strips mounted to the chassis, a lot of nice lacing for the cables and so forth. And speaking of vintage Radio Shack, I've got my Archer breadboard here with an Adafruit microphone, so you can see the trace of me talking on the camera here and on the oscilloscope. So that's what we've got.
That is excellent.
Always a
That
fan
is
of seeing
work
it
of art.
inside
Wow.
because like the way the wires are bundled and then like the hand drawn. Well, it looks like it hand drawn.
It's
The
quite
traces. Yeah, I like how they're all nice and curvy. Dude.
It's massive.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thanks.
How cool. Thank
That's
you so
great.
much for
Thank you so
sharing,
much, Tim.
A great one.
All right. Cool. All right.
That was so cool.
Michael, we're gonna check in with Mike next. Hello.
Hi.
Hey,
How are you
what's going on? Not too
All right.
bad. How are you?
Yeah, so for like an art project thing, I made 4 of these little things, and what it does is basically, here, I'll show you on this camera here. It has the Adafruit glasses driver board, so it has the NRF 52840, as well as I have it connected to a battery and a real-time clock. So then basically I had it set so it would like interval scan and then log it to a text file. And the reason why I did this was I had a project where we had to like collect something from people and visualize it. So I wanted to scan what devices were nearby and then basically pile it all together and then like create a data visualization. So I actually have the custom made Python script, which I open sourced. I put it on GitHub already, so I'll put that in the Discord. And then this is the visualization of the data. So each Bluetooth MAC address is assigned to a color. They're randomly placed on the screen, but yeah, it just shows like the amount of foot traffic through time. So it's not collecting any like sensitive data or anything. It's just collecting what devices are nearby. But it's quite interesting though to like visualize the amount of people that were in the building I put these in.
Cool.
So,
It's
yeah.
like, of course, it like right away runs to my brain like, oh man, this is how theme parks are keeping track of you, like going through and like what area you're going in. It's like, oh, we'll make this ride even more, less time or more time so we can like adjust the crowds. That is a cool way to visualize the people
Yeah,
that
it
are going
was-
through like a certain section, like of a choke point or something.
It was interesting because I wanted to be able to sort it into like a database, so SQLite. So in that program that visualizes it, it also, you can append like what the text files, because I have the 4 different nodes. You could also then theoretically detect what node the MAC address was from. I wanted to keep it as less creepy as possible though, so I just did colored dots.
I'm gonna guess the ones that the theme parks probably have all that info. Like, where did this person go? Did he go to this shop or the expensive shop? We'll just track him. So I'm
It's
sure
just
other
the MAC
companies are doing-
address though, so it's unless if you know exactly what device it is, you can't like. It's still somewhat anonymous, but yeah.
Yeah. No, that's a really cool way to remind people. Yeah, you're probably being tracked by a couple of different people on what you're doing.
Yeah, it was a fun project, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Really
I
eye-opening.
put
Thank
them
you
in
so
like
much, Michael.
literally ceiling tiles and stuff too. It was like super hacker like.
Oh,
It was so
man.
fun.
No, I'm sure they hide it as well. Thanks so much, Michael. This is great. I think I want to build one too, just to see like just people walking by. You know, that's a really cool visualizer. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Mike. All right. Last up, we have Liz.
Hey, Liz.
Hey,
Hello.
Hey.
Hey.
So first up, we worked on this light bar.
Yes.
So it's a VU meter. It's got 16 neopixels and a little mic in the back. Reacts to audio fairly snappily. So that's up on Learn System. And then something I started working on for fun is I've been working with Euro accents, and so I didn't set up my camera for it because it's kind of boring. But we got a Feather RP2040. A 12-bit DAC connected over stemma, and then 2 audio jacks going out. And what's happening is it's sending 1V oct to 2 different synths. And 1V oct is the way that Eurorack sends like note data, so it's different voltages for each pitch. So then if you want to share my screen, I can show the code. And I'm using async IO, which I hadn't played with before, to basically send 2 different patterns out at the same time from the DAC, 2 different outputs from the DAC. So one's just like stepping up the scale, and the other one's just going over a triad. So yeah, that was kind of the first time I was playing with getting 1V oct, then a DAC, and the async IO. So
Sweet. Great progress.
Yeah, that's awesome. And again, I guess big hugs to Dan for getting that async IO in there. This is freaking awesome.
yeah, it was really the example is really easy to follow. You just write a couple functions and then put it into a loop, and yeah. So
How cool.
Sweet.
Thanks so much.
All right. Hope to see more.
Yeah. Thanks so much.
All right. Thanks, Liz.
We're going.
All right. That's going to do it for
That
this
is it.
week's show and tell. Thank you, everybody, so much for joining us.
Yeah, that was super cool.
Yeah. Don't forget, post up things in the Discord, and
all the links.
Next week will be hosted by Lamar and Phil, I believe. If not, we'll do it again, or maybe JP. But yeah, that's going to do it. Thank you, folks, again. Pedro, any last words?
Don't go anywhere. Ask an Engineer starts in, 8 minutes?
Something like that. All right, folks.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.